Overeating feels good in the moment, but you're soon left feeling shameful and guilty about your behavior. I used to be 125 kilos, and over the last 6 years, I've obsessed over stopping overeating. You see, it's not just about losing weight and getting into better shape, but it's also about building the trust in yourself that you are someone that acts in alignment with who you want to be. In this video, I want to share with you 1, why you constantly overeat, and 2, how you can stop. So most people think that you overeat because you don't have discipline or willpower, but that's actually not the case. I spent the last 12 months in Bali, and every other day I would train Muay Thai in a pro fighter gym. I would go there, I would show up to my sessions, but right at the beginning, I really wasn't that good. My coach would tell me to throw a combo and I just wouldn't be able to do it. My hips were pretty immobile, I would throw my chin up, I'd flare at the elbows. I had already got lots of bad habits and I don't even know where I picked them up from. But through showing up consistently, I was able to get better and better and better and better. And that taught me a crucial lesson about how we build habits, how we change our behavior, how we learn any skill. And it's through repetition and feedback. Now let me explain what that means. You see, I would go to the gym and I would repeat an action, like throw the jab, and if I did it correctly, my coach would positively reinforce that behavior. So he'd say, hey, Liam, well done, brother. And if I didn't do it well, he'd be like, why are you doing that? Fix it. And I'd do that over and over again and iterate on my behavior to get closer and closer to throwing the jab consistently well. And then we'd move on to the next move and so on. Now, how does this relate to your eating habit? Throughout your life, you would have probably been reinforced positively for overeating. If you think back to your childhood, you may have had food left on your plate, and it's a common misconception by parents to tell their kids to finish what's on their plate, even if they're feeling full. And this is why. Because if you're feeling full as a child, you probably know that you're full. And then you get told, hey, you need to finish what's on your plate, and you go and finish it because you do as you're told. And as a result of that, you then get positively reinforced for overeating. Now compound this over years, and you end up building the habit of overeating. Another example in the Indian culture is that if you go to someone's house, they will offer you food. And if you say no, that's kind of seen as a little bit rude. The thing is, if you over and over again start to say yes to food that you don't want, you actually get positively reinforced for that behavior. And over time, because you repeat this habit over and over again, you end up building the habit to eat even when you don't want to. These repeated lessons that we learn throughout our childhood become ingrained in our mind, and we end up becoming overeaters without even realizing it. And then we realize that overeating isn't serving us and we try to stop, but it feels difficult because it's so ingrained in our mind. So that begs the question, how do we actually stop overeating? So back to my story about Muay Thai. I would go to these sessions and I would throw a jab and I would probably get it wrong. But the way that I would learn, and most people don't realize this about learning, is through imitation. So my coach would show me how to throw a kick or how to throw an elbow or how to throw a jab. And over time, I would try to emulate his behavior. And this is how we learn. We have something called mirror neurons in our brain. And when we look at the people around us throughout our childhood, we end up emulating their behavior. Now, this doesn't serve us if the people around us are overweight and they're eating. And this probably explains why statistically you are more likely to be obese if your parents are too. Now, the trick to stop overeating is actually to watch the people around you that are normal eaters. Let me tell you a story. So a few years ago, I moved into London with my friends, and one friend in particular was in pretty good shape, but he seemed to not really care about the food that he was eating. What I mean by that is, I was tracking my calories and I was doing all these things, but he seemed to effortlessly stay in shape. And I was like, what is he doing? And I used to watch him and how he ate. And it taught me so many lessons, because prior to this moment, I'd been at home, I'd been trying to lose weight, but the way I'd been doing it was a bit weird. I'd still eat 5 different meals per day, and I would try to keep the meals during the day really small and then have a massive feast in the evening. And I didn't realize at the time that there was anything wrong with it, but I was positively reinforcing this kind of binge restrict cycle at the time. When I moved into London, I watched my friend and he just ate 3 normal meals per day, and I saw him do that and I was like, hold on a second. I've been getting it wrong the whole time. And he didn't really think about food that much. At night, he would fill up his plate and sometimes he would just leave a little bit of rice. And I was like, how do you do that, bro? How do you do that? For me, it was always finishing off everything off the plate, and I'm sure you're the same too. And so when you're trying to build good habits, one of the most important things that you can do is look at people that eat normally and just observe how they eat. And this could be at restaurants, this could be at home, but just looking at how, you know, at the end of dinner, they might have something left on their plate, they'll leave it on because they're actually a little bit full and they don't want to eat more than that. Or when they're on holiday, they don't actually go and get the dessert, even if they want to, because guess what? They feel too full. And I think as you spectate and you just observe these behaviors, eating 3 meals a day, not snacking throughout the day, you end up learning how to eat normally, and it becomes the behavior that becomes more ingrained in yourself. Now, if you really want to supercharge this, the fastest way to do it, well, let me explain. Going back to my Muay Thai story, I was fighting with my coach, right? And every time that I would do an action, he would give me feedback. Either I was doing it right or I was doing it wrong. Now, because of that feedback, I was able to iterate incredibly quickly on the moves that I was making. What do I mean by that? So every time that I made a mistake, he would correct me. Every time I got it right, he would also tell me, hey, you're doing it right. And so every single time I took action on the movements that he was telling me to take action on, I would know whether I was doing it right or wrong. And it was through this continuous feedback every single session that I was able to iterate quickly and get better at Muay Thai. And within a few weeks, I was able to throw jabs and throw kicks as if I was a proficient fighter. Okay, maybe not a proficient fighter, but I was pretty good. And so the fastest way for you to iterate and get better at eating is through getting someone to help you with your eating. If you find that you're overeating and you're struggling with it and you've struggled for a while, is to get someone to continuously give you feedback. And this is what I do with my clients. So my clients would check in with me on a daily basis, and they'll just let me know how they've been eating, what they've been eating. I've been having sugar cravings, I've been overeating this, I've been not having this, and they'll tell me about their sleep and all these different things. And every single time that they check in with me, I'm able to give them feedback. And the ones that see the most success on their journey, and I've had people lose over 20 kilos with me, is literally just by checking in with me consistently, getting feedback from me, and then implementing it in their life. And slowly but surely, through making these small changes over and over again, they compound so that over a year, they look back and they're like, oh my God, I'm a different person. So if you would like to have a call with me, it's completely free. Click the link in the description. We'll figure out where you're stuck. We'll figure out where you're at right now. We'll create a plan for you so that you can smash it out over the next 6 months. And if you're not interested in that, then check out this video over here where I share the simple solution to stop binge eating. Peace.